The United Nations has warned that Syria's neighbours need more support to cope with the number of refugees leaving the country. The High Commissioner for Refugees, Antonio Guterres, is on a visit to Lebanon, where more than 500,000 Syrians have fled to avoid the fighting. That's a big chunk of the 1.6 million people who have been forced to leave Syria since the war began more than 2 years ago.
Last year, 7.6 million people fled their homes. That's one person every 4 seconds, forced by conflict to abandon everything. It's the highest figure since 1994, the year of genocide in Rwanda and brutal conflict in Bosnia. Worldwide, there are now more than 45 million people who are displaced. Many from Afghanistan or Somalia have been refugees for years, even decades. Others, like the 1.6 million refugees from Syria, are new arrivals, fleeing violence at home, seeking shelter in unfamiliar surroundings. The UN Refugee Agency says the figures are alarming. They highlight our inability to resolve old conflicts or to prevent new ones.
Every 4.1 seconds, there is a new refugee or a new internally displaced, which means that every time you blink, one more person is forced to flee.
The UN is also concerned by the growing gap between rich and poor countries when it comes to taking in refugees. Developing countries now host over 80% of them, up 10% in just 10 years. Meanwhile, some European countries are tightening up their laws on asylum, and the conflict in Syria continues. A further 2 million refugees are expected by the end of this year. That's why, within the next few days, the Refugee Agency is expected to ask European countries to take at least some of them in.